Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Boxing. I'm MB.
And I'm Leti. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Fundora. What?
Yeah, so the reason why we're talking about Fundora because there's been a lot of talk about who's going to be next for Jermell Charlo.
Mm-hmm.
The top names that are being discussed right now are Tim Tszyu from Australia or Sebastian Fundora. And so we're kind of discussing it, and it was like, as much as I would love to see Fundora versus Jermell Charlo, I think that would just be an action-packed fight, because the pressure of Fundora and the fighting style, he's always in action-packed fights. Jermell's always in action-packed fights. I think the way that it looks aesthetically with you know what I mean? It looks like a giant versus it's gonna look crazy, and I think how it looks, it actually sells.
But I think it's gonna look like that with whatever fighter Fundora fights.
Yeah.
Like I could not believe how insane that height difference is. Like he's like literally a giant in that ring, and just like it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's really especially if you saw that last action-packed fight you saw with him and Lubin. That was just an amazing fight of the year candidate.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think that would sell. But you know what? I just don't. I would love to see that fight, but I just don't think that they get that fight done. For all the things that we kind of mentioned, like Fundora physically is just like, he is a freak of nature. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to be able to make that weight, and it's just
right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? To be 6'7", well, he's listed at 6'6", but he looked tall, and I've been around a lot of 6'8" and 7-footers, and he looked tall. He might be taller than 6'6", but
like, how do you even make the weight being that tall? Like, where does it even go? It's crazy, y'all.
Yeah. So I think
that weight.
Yeah, and so I think that he has a strong chance to really cross over, to the casual fans and the casual boxing fan, just because of the way that it looks. And I think that I don't see them putting him in there with Jermell Charlo to risk that. You know what I mean? Before he's actually built, because he's not really a big name. You know what I mean?
He's not at all.
Yeah, and so I would love to see that fight, but I just don't see how Al Heyman and them put him in there and risk that versus, you build this guy up as, the Greek freak, I like to call him, because the same thing in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a freak of nature. There's no one that's that tall, that fast, and supposed to move like that and be that, finesse in the game. And so when I look at him, I can see, that being similar. And if it's not, it'd be a good idea to try to market him like that. You know what I mean? And the fans will really, it'll be something you want to see. You see this giant going against, this shorter guy, power puncher. You know what I mean? So I think that fight is later down the road, even though I would love to see it now. I want the fight now.
You wouldn't think Charlo's camp would do that?
It's not.
Fundora's camp? You don't think? I think they would.
No, the reason why I say that is because he is tied to Samson Lukowitz. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. But Samson, he also has other fighters like Benavidez, and he's also got, he's got a lot of the top guys. He also has the Cuban fighter for PBC, David Morrell. He got a lot of those. He got a lot of those fighters, and the way that he moves them, and how I heard him talk about Benavidez and Andre fight, it makes me feel like he's not gonna do that fight yet.
That's right. He said, he said he protects. It was like something about protecting fighters.
Yeah, and so since he said that, I'm like, there's no way he make that fight. Now I know that I see them trying to build him up, and I would build him up as the Greek freak. Build him up as the Greek freak of boxing, the Giannis Antetokounmpo of boxing. It's perfect. We've seen how Giannis Antetokounmpo, how everything's been rising.
Yeah.
I think it would be good. But yeah, that's why I'm just not confident in that fight happening. But Fundora, I know that Samson and Fundora, they're making sure though that they're calling him out. Yeah, we want the fight, give us the fight. But I think in the back room it don't get done yet.
But what do you think? Charlo's like, all right, here you go, let's fight, and then they say no.
Huh?
Do you see that? Like, I don't see that happening. They're calling out for this fight because already got all the belts, and then Charlo says, okay, I want the fight. Let's get it done. You think Fundora's team's gonna be like, oh no, never mind, let's not get it done? I don't think so. I think they get it done. I think they get it done.
Well, that's what she thinks. That's what I think. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Let's see what happens.
So thanks for tuning in, y'all. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.